entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. You have the code of a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be live to your hero if you never 6 years. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise his sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hi, folks. I'm MJ. I host the World of Conscious Positive Thinking, where we take old belief patterns and we flip them into the most conscious, positive ways that we can go to have balance, peace, and harmony in our life. So what are you doing with those old belief patterns and old belief systems that you really don't believe in anymore, but you're told to do it? Well, we're going to flip them right here on the World of Conscious Positive Thinking, right here on our beautiful mbradio.us. Well, that was the first time I saw that. How wonderful is that? Monday morning treasures of surprises by HR Nightmare in the background today with us here on April the 28th, 2025. It is a beautiful, beautiful day up here in these mountains. It's a little bit on the cool side, but you know what? When we're working outside, we just like that little cool weather, not to sweat our arses off. And every farmer's probably thinking the same thing. So, my gosh, April's already leaving. Energy is soaring, and people, for whatever reason, if you didn't, they're just, this is society, right? And you're like, wow, you can't, you see so many interpretations of everybody's thought theory bound by man's fears, right? We look into, for whatever reason, on the majority, we look into people as looking at them like, what are you up to? Why do you want that? I don't trust you. And that is an issue, especially today. Trust in most of everything that we do is a major component of how balanced we are and how happy we are, right? Because if we're not happy, that means we haven't discussed something to communicate to balance ourselves. And that happens, then we're just pissed off Nancy's. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, we are. And it just doesn't work out very well for anybody. Not that Nancy's always pissed off, but yeah, that's another story on Beyond the Headlines. We'll get to Miss Pelosi tonight, probably, because we're going to have some discussions. Anyhow, that's tonight at 7 o'clock. Don't ever miss that. Little Terry action, little HR, and little MJ action. We try to put perspective on it. So there's a little shout out for my other show that I am graciously proud of to be on, and that is Beyond the Headlines with Miss Terry Lynch and Mr. Joel Hunt and myself, and we just have some fun times discussing amongst ourselves and maybe an ideology or two of a flip pattern for you. But let's get back to today. We're going to talk about our partnerships. Why? And I'm not really talking about friends partnerships, though you can use it, or your coworkers, you can probably use it. But this is more, I like it called the whipping post, right? So our partners in crime, especially our significant others, is who we're talking about, whether it be a wife or a husband that we have given our sacred vow to. And this happens for a lot of first responders and a lot of military people. Sometimes there's separation. Sometimes there's not a lot of chatter because you are sanctioned not to chat. Sometimes there is an inability to understand a job that takes so many hours in a day. Say like doctors and nurses, we can put them in there, right? So these service to other people are really out there trying their best to help humanity. Yes, I can't say that every single person who is out there is doing the right thing. But when you love somebody, you do the right thing, right? That's why we take our sacred vows, right? For better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health. And I vow, and I vow, and I vow my sacred vow to you, which means you become, in some instances, the whipping post. Why? Because the total love and the total trust that your partner has within you, and they are struggling and they don't know how to balance it. They don't know how to heal it. So sometimes if we have man's conditioned pattern of our egos and our judgment, we can't understand that what they're doing in reality is they're literally trying to heal themselves and asking you to help. Think about that. Twist it. Twist those arguments really quick here. You're stuck, right? Because you've reached a crossroad where you and your partner cannot see eye to eye. And now what? Yikes, right? You don't want to budge because you've already learned your life lesson and you're like, I'm not budging because I already did it that way and it didn't work, right? Two key parts I want to hint on that statement. Was it the same energetic partner that it didn't work? Or was it the same energetic partner and then we can say, listen, we tried this a year ago and it really didn't pan out for me. It didn't work for me. And that is your truth. And we're going to flip these because arguments cause hurt because you can't take words back, right? Physical pain of partnerships is also abusive. Get it. But we got to talk about the mental acuity and the emotional acuity because that's what this show is. We're going to talk about those things because that's what people are painfully choices when our partner makes choices, when our partner makes decisions, when our partner's decisions don't go quite accurately or influenced to make those decisions. And then we have partner issues. And again, being a partner, besides saying in sickness and in health, it also doesn't say physical health, it says mental health as well, right? Mind, body, spirit. We have to get those in order. And we have to do this. Why? Because if we don't find a balance in all, then we'll constantly have nothing but arguments. We'll have nothing but frustrations in our relationships. So it's a finding a balance. It's not 100% your way. I remember back in 1989, my grandmother, she came to me and she said to me, in my marriage, are you sure? Are you ready? And I said, yes. She goes, are you sure? I go, yeah. She goes, I just want you to be really sure. I go, Graham. She turns around and she goes, I'm just letting you know. She goes, women take 80%, men take 20%. Now see her, my beautiful grandmother who was born in 1910. That's an old belief pattern. We know this today. We know that those old belief patterns, even though the men are out there going, that's a good grandmother, she knows. Yeah, I don't think so, right? So in her time and day, truly, she was making a lot of decisions for the household as the husband worked. In her day, she had to make decisions about the children's health, the children's education, the children's stuff that they needed every day for school. She made decisions on what food they were going to eat, what foods that we had to go buy, what clothing we had. She made a lot of those decisions. And that was her mind frame. Her mind frame was, I'm making all these decisions and he goes to work, bring home the money, and then that's it. Right? And that is truly old school pattern. It is truly old school, which makes that a very fun statement because we have overcome that as women in a partnership, and we have overcome it as men having that burden. Why would men take all that burden to financially secure the house when women were just as justifiable to take that burden off? So that was the balance. You see how a 1910 mind frame, right, to the mind frame now of somebody who was born in the 60s. Yep, there's 50 years difference, but man, that pattern of man's thinking, because, man consciousness is why we always get in these dilemmas. So that being said, now we can understand that flip pattern. And I'm sure there's a couple of you out there, and I was divorced, not once, not twice. Yeah, twice. Let's stop there. I was like, wait, no, married 3 times. If I only took her advice, maybe I would be still together. Maybe that's what she thought in the first one. I don't know. I'm not ashamed of my happenings of my life. I have to respect it. These were life lessons I had to go through. I had to learn. I had to fall on my damn knees like everybody else, right? Nobody's perfect. It's impossible to be perfect. Heck, in Genesis 1, it'll tell you that in the Bible, the very first page of the Bible, when God unknowingly was creating. He kept creating and kept creating, right? How many millennias? Which God, whoever you perceive, is always a millennia. There's always a history. There is always something, which is why we call it fossiling. Well, that's a different story. Let's get back to what we're doing here on a different level. So, on a different level, back to partners. The energy that is being created. If anybody saw that beautiful little Saturn smiley face on Friday night, early Friday morning, I think it was. I can't remember now. But anyway, your moon was a very sliverish waxing, I believe. And then you had your 2 little eyes. If you had cloud cover, you didn't see it. But if you did, it was a reminder to Venus and a reminder to Saturn that we balance it within love. Did you know that? And then people want to understand why there's such a shakeup between eclipses and all this energy being pulled. Because it pulls the energetic frequency pattern to our belief system, creating some of those people who get angrier in different energetic patterns or ways. If you are in an instance, and I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, I'm going to say it again. If you are in an instance where you are angry, there is nobody else to blame but you. Number one, because you've allowed the energy to hit you, which you wrote way before you did in your life purpose. You've already written it and God's approved it. So you're here living these purpose of these lessons, right? So you get to these lessons and you're angry at the other person. No. Be angry at yourself because you called that catalyst in so you could learn this lesson. So instead of now taking anger, take inquisitiveness, going, oh, this must have been something I called in. Be your own Sherlock. Why is this making me angry? Where's my part that's making me angry? What did I say that caused the action for it to come back at me? Is it different belief patterns of growing up from this person to this person? I know we have to take a break, folks. We're right here at that momentous 15-minute mark. So when we come back, we're going to dig in further. How do we know these things and how do we flip them? And I'm going to give you some examples of different arguments that happen. You stay tuned. This is MJ, and this is the world of conscious positive thinking right here on a beautiful military broadcast radio, or mbradio.us, where veterans always have a voice. And we always look for revocation and rehabilitation efforts for all of our beautiful vets and first responders. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
Thank you so much and welcome back. That was Die Tired with Need to Feed. You can follow him. I actually put it in the feed while we were listening. So give him a shout out. He is, his words, his music, that whole band is just amazing. So check them out. He is one of our feature artists here at MBR, which is why we post these beautiful people here. Okay. Good morning to you, Miss Tracer. Tracer is actually listening. We talked about Beyond the Headlines. This is her as well. This is the same Terry. So, okay, let's get back to our partners and how we balance. So, one of my first tricks that I try to tell people is read the energy of the planets above you. And it's really easy to do because they come every 15 days. You have a different cycle, and that cycle then becomes part of the energies that are going to be near us, around us, on us, in us, making us having to look. Yes, I understand people think it's phooey, but it's not. These are the energies that are the cytal sign of our Father, Mother, God to say, here you go. Here is the chaos that you asked for during this energy. And if you are part of that chaos energy of having something to learn, what the skeletons that are inside of us that we have to learn, then you are going to be affected by it. And this is, again, one of those most beautiful things. Meditate on it. There's the word meditate. Okay, I'm going to give a little sploof. And maybe if HR Nightmare is listening back there, he'll have a screen ready. But MB Radio actually came out with coloring books that you can purchase. And you're going like, MJ, coloring book. Yes, coloring is meditative. And when you do meditative coloring, it might be able to help balance some of these struggles with your partner. Why? Because if you cannot see the thought process, we meditate in order to clear everything else from our mind in order for the positive consciousness to come through with an information for us to move forward. Now, back to the coloring. When we color, Buddhism and Asian cultures believe that making the mandalas and coloring, it'd be the same way as coloring anything else. When you have something that is in your way, a block, and you don't know how to get around it, and you're frustrated, and here's this learning life lesson, then what we do is we start on the core of the coloring and we go from the inside and we work our way to the outside. And by the time we just think about nothing but coloring, ironically, there's one of them. Ironically, then what will happen is you start coloring inside his little beak. And then you start coloring his little face. And then you come all the way to the outside. By that point, you should have already gained an idea of how to move forward into going around that block. Now, just the opposite. If you want something to be manifested, but you just don't know how to go with it, but you got the idea, you got it, but you don't know how to start it, or you don't know which way to go with it. So now you do the absolute reverse. So you start on the outside, Mr. Ducky Wucky there, and then you go from the outside and you come right and you color into the inside, making the mantra, whether it's I am manifesting an abundance of prosperity, I'm manifesting of health, I'm manifesting an abundance. And we keep that mantra the same as I am manifesting a way to unblock this for me to be set free, whatever that pattern is. So thank you, MBR, for allowing us to have Ducky Wucky coloring books with our little quacker mascot. So now if you struggle and you try different things to try to balance our mind or clear our mind, MBR is putting that out there now to help you well, because there is another form of meditation, which is coloring, whether you are 1-year-old or whether you are 100 years old. That is a form of meditation and relaxation to relax the mind. So you got it. All right. Okay. onward. So now we come back. Now we have a way, and now we would like to balance. So when we concentrate on bringing our voice tone levels down, and we put that smile, even though we're unhappy, on our face, it is going to push a wave of energy for you to allow a comfort level. You're manifesting soft, positive words out of this called your boca, right? This thing, we want soft, harmonizing words, but we want our discernment to reach our partner. It might sound something like this, right? Your wife wants you to push that table over there for her. So, of course, you push the table over there for her. She'll like it. So, of course, she's going to say, hey, can we try it on this way? Now, how many people have already gone through this scenario where our wives, and sometimes even our husbands, we're doing something because they want it? And you're doing it for love, and you're doing it because that's your honey-do list, and you're doing it for all these other reasons, but the reasons that you're doing it is not beneficial to you. You have no interest. You have absolutely, you don't even care. But yet you're involved and you're doing it. And you go, yeah, because I'm married, or because it's my significant other, or because it's my partner. Yeah, that's great. But when you do things and you're not 100% in doing it, it's going to end up causing you anger, frustration, depression, sadness, resentment, those negative attributes. You're doing it because you're my partner. I'm not saying don't do things because it's your partner, but I'm doing things to figure out, we need to find a balance instead of all the resentment, anger, and hatred, because it will, if you can't find anything else besides, maybe plausibly how we turn it around, instead of saying to our friends or our co-workers or somebody else going, no, man, can't go and move this furniture for her. So that hurts. That is a negative attribute thrown out, whether you like it or not, it is. Why? Because I want to go with X, Y, and Z to whatever, but I already promised my partner that I would help do something that I really don't care to do, and I loathe to do it. Do you see how that anger, that resentment is going to filter through? And then now we're in an imbalance, right? Now it's like, I know you wanted to go. If you stop huffing and puffing and stop that heavy breathing and stop, and now we get to the chattiness, and now we're back and forth because I'm married and I had to do it. That is not what is meant. It's not a have to. It is, I get to. I am blessed to. Change your words, change the consciousness, right? Sorry, man. Yeah, I'd love to go. I didn't know it was today, but I get to help my mom or my wife or my husband, whichever it is, move X, Y, and Z today because, it hasn't been done. Changing of words to a positive tone helps, right? And that's with anything. I'm sure there is lists on both sides of the equation of honey-do lists, right? Why? Because if you are actually, what is it? I think 3 shows ago now, we did the personality matrix, which if you actually took the test of personality matrix, or you were with your spouse and asked your spouse to take the test and go through it with you on that show, I know it's maybe, I know it's on my YouTube all split up. I don't know. I didn't look at MBR to see if they actually put it all together yet. But there is like there's 3 parts to it, just because we had bad Wi-Fi, really bad windstorm up here. And I really think my Wi-Fi went to crapola. Anyhow, so back to our partnerships. And what happened is there's that personality matrix. Well, when you know who they are, why are you fighting that persona? Why don't we give may it be possibles? Or is it plausible? Or I understand what you're asking. Is there a way maybe we could do a AI chat and put the table in, or an AI, one of those AI movement interior things, and maybe we can see how it looks before I actually break my back and trying to help you move it. Right? There are all sources these days to try to make our life a little bit easier if we start thinking outside of the box. How do we think outside the box? Meditation. If you haven't lived through it or haven't seen somebody live through it, then we meditate on it. Actions don't have to be done quickly. I know as soldiers and as first responders, every second counts. I get it. I was there with you. But when we're talking other things that are not life-threatening, we have to come out of that man-conditioned pattern that you are in, that all decisions have to be made in a second, and then we have to just live with our consequences. No, not no more. This is not life or death. Now, obviously, if someone's having a heart attack in front of you, you dial 911 and then you start CPR. That is different, okay? I'm not talking that. What I'm talking is before you open your boca, your mouth, think about your words. Think about how your words are going to play out. Do you want this? How long is your partner going to take the abuse without you turning? I call it abuse because we all can learn not to scream, shout, throw vulgar profanity. And unfortunately, there is a lot of that type of domestic emotional abuse with veterans. They can't get out of that mindset. It's also the first responders as well. There is an immediate reaction jerk that we are conditioned to have. But that mindset also does not help us in the civilian world where there is not that many life-threatening events to have to make that knee-jerk reaction so quickly, right? That knee-jerk reaction so quickly in partnerships might end you in a divorce or a separation, or just not even talking to one another ever again. But guess what? At some point, that soul, those two souls are going to have to do it. They're going to have to balance. Why? Because in every religion or denomination around the world, you love thy neighbor. You love your brother. You love your sister. We are all brothers and sisters of the I am present, whether you choose to like it or not. We are. And that is a balance. So when I hear people being judgmental and they're religional or denominational, I ask them to please pay mind for the very first thing that was brought up. Thou shalt not judge others, for others can then judge you. You want people to judge you? Do you like it? No, you don't. But when you sit and you're comfortable within yourself and you can balance and you do 100% job of trying to balance with others, then guess what happens? People start gravitating to you. More peace becomes your way and more happiness. You could go through a major struggle, but yet still be content, still be happy, even though it's a major struggle. Very difficult. We said it before. It is very difficult. It is very, very difficult to do a higher vibrational thing. Truly it is. Because we are so accustomed to being Debbie Downer. I'm sorry for every Debbie out there. I didn't mean it. It's an old expression. Just like I said Nancy before. It's just one of those expressions, right? When we find that partner, then we make sure that our partnerships are on an even keel. Remember, people change as they grow. They mature as they grow. So if you have a partner when you were younger, you may have needed that. There might be a reason for every season for that partner. I don't know. I don't know. Then don't get married. Don't have a sacred vow. Be a significant other with trust and honor. We're going to talk about that next. Trust and honor. You know those words, especially if you're in the military first responder. Trust and honor. I hear my birds in the background. I think it's time for us to take another break. I'm MJ here on the World of Conscious Positive Thinking on the beautiful MBR Radio. We'll be right back.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
That, my friends, if anybody knows me here on this station, Third Class, that is one of my most inspirational, transformational artists. I love that song. Yep, I played a lot on this song, on this World of Conscious Positive Thinking show, and it's called Walk Into the Light by Third Class. I have actually put it up there for everybody and said that. Give them a shout out because they are just that good. I love that song. I love the bebop behind the scenes. And I also want to give a shout out. See this? I wore this today. See my New Jersey Devils. I don't know if we have a show on that talks about hockey, but I'm a big hockey fan. Carolina's kicking our butt right now. But you know what? I have faith, not hope. I have faith that my boys will give it their hardest and they'll play their heart out. And just nice that we're even there. So little shout out to them, little fanfare rooting and for you. So let's get back to our partners and how we abuse them, because we are all guilty of it, all of us. Because if we have crappy energy, or we have entities attached to us, or we have downward energy attached to us, the first person we attack is our partner. It's pretty, and you think to yourself, why? And then sometimes your partner turns around and says, well, that's why I married you. Oh, did you? So that you could use someone as a whipping post? Do you know how many people I hear say, well, I tried to talk. Are you talking or are you yelling? So it takes a very, very, very strong person to sit there and listen to you. It takes a very strong person and a very deep love person, because that kind of, I love when I get into these counselings and people talk to me about these types of relationships. And I constantly always tell them, what's your part? And they get angry. I go, you have to have a part. Were you the one who's like, stop talking to me like that when all they needed to do is get the energy out? Or were you the one with the energy screaming, just trying to get the energy out? It has to come out. So maybe we should start thinking about finding somebody else instead of our partner. If we know our partner's reactions, and obviously conditioned pattern, right? You try to just get your energy out and then your partner starts getting angry. Yeah. I'm not so sure that works either. So we have to be able to sit back and think, not only do I want my partner to be able to distress me, I don't really want to stress them. Did we think about that? Yes, we have to talk, but you have to calm down before you talk. We have to get our emotions in line. If we as a whole could get our emotions in line and understand this is just an event that we chose. We've chosen this learning event. Each and every one of us. Whether you be a catalyst or not. Basically, if somebody is in an event with two people or more, then they're all called to be a catalyst on one another. And in that aspect, the higher plan of divine is working. If you believe in God and you believe in all those highest, then that reigns into that. If you believe in the highest form of vibration of the conscious mind, the science side, then you're in again. Because the highest side of the consciousness, without our ego and judgment in the way that's been conditioned by man, we can always choose the highest form of balance. No, it's not always going to be your way. Those times, those 1910 days are over, Graham. I love you. It's not always going to be your way. It has to balance. It can't be, I'm going to raise holy tantrums either, or I'm going to start, not talking to you, or I'm going to start slamming shit, or I'm going to start kicking stuff, or I'm going to, or let's just get worse, physically abuse of family dog members, something in the family. That's what it turns into when we don't take our part and we don't come to a highest conscious positive. There's a lot of people still on this earth, from baby boomer to Gen X, who still live in the theory of the man works and the women take care of the home. Believe it or not, it's fading, yes. And it's okay if you are. And it's okay if that's what you choose that you want to be. And that is okay too. If you are comfortable in that, then do it. But we cannot judge or condemn the others. And you cannot even get upset if you want to do something and it's out of norm of a conditioned pattern that you've fallen into of ancestral lineage or old belief patterns of our government or our country. There's nobody else to point a finger at but you. You getting the concept about how to balance with your partner? Balance you first. Because if you don't balance you can't balance them, because you can't have your audacity level of the brain by conditioned belief patterns, right? How many times have you talked to a friend, right? Hopefully you choose a friend who won't judge because they have nothing to do with the event. That's the other thing. Choose your friends wisely around you. If your partner doesn't like an energy, then don't invite them to something that has that energy. And don't make it so that you are constantly there making that partner feel out. Now you have to have a different balance. Right? There is so many different examples. And if somebody doesn't know, if you are in a partnership or you have a significant other that you constantly go round and round with the same event, it's a pattern. You are not choosing the correct positive path for this event, which is why it keeps coming back. Because you either said it's my way or the highway, or they said it's my way or the highway, or they just said, I'm going to do it, and you're just going to have to get over it instead of the highway, right? So how many times have we gotten in this? Or what would be, do you pick and choose your battles? Remember, you are not going to find somebody with 100% of your likes and dislikes. It's impossible. Because where you lack, you probably found somebody to pick up. Psychology tells us that if you are a female, and there you go, change of there it is. Man's condition theories. Man's condition theory of science of psychology states that you will marry somebody similar to your dad, or you will marry somebody similar to your mother in those belief systems, because it's a familiar energy. So now if we are man marrying man, or woman marrying woman, male, male, female, female, are you disposing the masculine energy or the female energy? Where does that sit now? Did you ask yourself that? Now we have a huge different dimension that we just brought into the process. Are we disposing every culture of one or the other genres? And if we do have, and we encourage population growth to continue on this earth, obviously, we don't need 10 of them, but you kind of have one to help, right? Now what? Now you're teaching a one-sided energetic form, because that's what you pulled. Wow. And you're going to say, but MJ, we're made up of the products of our mother and father. And I just got done saying psychology states that you marry a conditioned energetic pattern. We all have to control estrogen and testosterone in our bodies, whether you're male or female. It's a balance. And if you have a higher concentration of estrogen, obviously you're female, a higher concentration of testosterone, you're a male. Get the science. But you can also balance the science, and the science can balance in itself, because we have to balance both masculine and feminine energy in order to have a complete balance to make decisions, especially with our partners, whether it's masculine, masculine, or feminine, feminine, or feminine, masculine. Those are the three types of partnerships. You have to balance this. You have to be aware that people do morph and they do change. And it's probably not the same person you met in college or high school at the sorority party or the fraternity party. They were great times. Or it wasn't the first 4 years of your highlight romance moon parties that you got to wine, dine, and, well, we're not going to go to the other number. Right. Do we make sense? Does this now kind of like bear what we're saying, some of the things we're trying to balance here? If we get in an argument over just going out to dinner or going out to have drinks, there's more behind this partnership than deciding on a restaurant that needs to be fulfilled. The proverbial, hey, where do you want to go? Oh, I don't care. Where do you want to go? Oh, I don't care. Where do you want to go? Now, for masculine energy, that is very disturbing. And for some feminine energy, that is very disturbing. I asked you a question not to reverberate back to me. In other words, I don't have a thought process of where I would like to eat. And I was hoping that you could give me an idea. That's basically what is being said by somebody saying, where do you want to go? We agree we're going to go somewhere. We agree we're going to go out to eat. Because one of the two of us don't feel like cooking. One of the two of us just are like, nah, man, I don't want to. But then now we have the next issue. Okay, not a problem. Where are you going to go? And now it causes a problem. Why? Because they say, hey, let's go here. And you're like, nah, I don't feel like that. Well, you just said you didn't know what you wanted. Now they're giving you a suggestion, and now you're poo-pooing it in the air. You are the problem because you asked it. You could probably say, hey, that's not what I meant. Or you come back and say, I really don't know what I want. I can tell you I don't want X, Y, and Z. Do you have another thought? But if you say nothing at all, you see how words and tones matter in that little argument. And then all of a sudden, they make a suggestion. You really didn't want it. So now you become disappointed. Now you become despaired. Now you become the anger going, oh, I didn't want that. It's not even in my taste buds. Well, okay. So, okay, let's back this up. And somebody out there, I know you're laughing because if I've had this scenario once, I must have had it 100 times in my career so far. We're fighting over restaurants. Well, it's deeper than a restaurant. It's how you're asking or how they're asking. Asking, understanding, and communication are key rules for any balancing of every partnership. And some people don't want to be the bad guy or don't want to talk about something that's going to cause a ruffle or a riff. Because every time we talk about it, it's a riff. Well, then you can honest to God say, with no judgment and no ego, I need you to set that aside. Tap. Ask each other to tap. I promise you, put a smile on your face and tap. And then you get to talk to one another. It's as easy as that. But I know people won't do it. It's silly. But is it silly or do you want to have ugly relationships within? Do something that's silly where you can both laugh at the end and balance it? Or try your hardest to take the back seat. Take the back seat every once in a while and see then what your partner will do. See then if your partner comes in and says, hey, do you think you want to go X, Y, and Z? Do you think you want to go here? You think you want to go here? Right? Wow. Look how that changed. Just try. If you don't give the effort into trying, then the partnership isn't even worth staying together. I dislike when somebody comes in and asks for help with a relationship. The very first question I asked, is there somebody else besides the person you're with? Is there a triangle here? Why? Because that's one of the most biggest problems there is. The envy, the jealousy of either a friend or a very good friend in a relationship, that they have to question what you're doing, right? It's probably the number one divorce reason there is infidelity. And infidelity comes from not being happy. Infidelity, people say, oh, there was sexual abuse, which is why they're like this, or they were molested and this is why they're like this, or so we can put any type of blame, any type of reasoning. There's people who have never been molested and have child abuse and didn't have any of that going on, and it still happens. Oh, it's family line. No. You made a choice. They get to make a decision. Why? Because your choice could have landed them any type of sexual disease out there or any sex virus or bacteria that you brought home. I can tell you as an autoimmune person, that would not make me happy. And that would be the first reason why I had a divorce. I'm not kidding. The old MJ would have been get out. The new MJ would find out, where did I go wrong? Where was my part of making them feel unloved? I'm going to say that again. Where was my part of somebody who cheated on me, where was my part? You all have a part. Whether you like it or not, you have a part. Have you been looking at the signs and have you been ignoring the honey-do list? Have you been putting them last on your list because you don't want to? Where do you stand? Where do you stand with it? Ask yourself. I don't want to hear it online. Don't put it online because obviously. And don't write it to me unless you want a session. Okay? But where do you stand? Ask yourself that. Are you better off being Signal if you like to be promiscuous and flirty and outgoing? Why have a partner? Think about that. Think about how they feel. Think about how you would feel. If you don't feel like, and then maybe that's a relationship you have. The Mormons are like that. Multiple partners. There's other religions that have a harem. There's denominations that have harems. Right? Heck, the Romans were all about it. So if you like the Romans, do, we'll have those orgies, or they'll have those, right? But then again, there was a reason for that time frame of thinking because of the oxytocin level that it brought to both men and women. Mostly the men, they needed that, like Hare Krishna. Fun fact, MJ. Fun facts. It's always a fun fact around here. I gotta take another break. We're gonna take and go into one of my other faves, which is, where'd it go? Here he is. Dallas Alexander, To a Hero. So you're watching MJ on the World of Conscious Positive Thinking right here on the beautiful mbradio.us. And we're going to go with Dallas Alexander, To a Hero. We'll be right back.
To a hero, I say, I hope to see you again on some sunny day. And to a hero, and the love you left behind, I'll try my best to pass it on till the end of my time. And to a hero, you're gone, but I have no doubt that you have made it home. And to a hero, taken way too soon, over there in that dusty country, an Afghan afternoon. To a hero, and the little one you left behind, I hope he grows up with your passion, I'm sure he will with time. And to a hero, a warrior through and through, you were taken way too early, what can we do? Well, we can try to keep your spirits alive, we can try to be nice, we can not take for granted all the beautiful things in our lives. We can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. To all the heroes taken from our lives, at home or in those countries, fighting for what's right. Now we can do this for you and all your kin, and make this world a better place for your kids to grow up in. And we can try to be true, admit when we don't have a clue, and be there with the ones we love until our time is good and through. And we can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for This is what we can do. Yeah, we can try to keep your spirits alive, and we can try to be nice. We can not take for granted all the beautiful things in our lives. We can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. Well, to a hero I say, I hope to see you again on some sunny day. All right.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
That is so beautiful. I hear my birds. HR Nightmares in the studio flying with my birds. That was Dallas Alexander, folks, To a Hero. I tell you, the music is soothing to the soul. But when you really listen to those lyrics, there's no more words. It is just solemn prayer of good, honest, and good wishes and thank yous. And I think he portrays it in that song really, really well. So everybody give him a handout and start liking his stuff on Spotify, YouTube, and tell him MBR sent you, and tell him MJ at the World of Conscious Positive Thinking. Somebody asked me, what is TWOCAP? TWOCPT. Follow along. The World of Conscious Positive Thinking. It's a mouthful. So now we're starting TWOCAP because it's a mouthful. And some people cannot say the word conscious. I'm not going to mention any words, but I'll look at the studio. I'm just joking you, HR. I'm joking you. Okay, let's get back to partners, right? How bad we treat our partners. Shame on us. Shame on us, right? However, remember when we take a partner, we should be making choices and not on physical appearance. Physical appearance can change in a second. Change in a second. So when we look at our partners, we look at how much we could balance, or how much they could teach us, or how much where we fail in our life they have to be able to pick us up. This is what people don't realize. We just want to get in a heated argument and we want it our way. It's not really your way, right? It's not. Times are changing. That old belief system is changing. It's a balance in order to have harmony. It's always a balance to have harmony. Always. So, one of the other things that come in is in-laws and partnership issues I want to talk about. So when we have our in-laws, there is always one person in an in-law family, or maybe several, depending on the family, that your partner just can't see eye to eye with. They can't. Is it because they don't want to? Is it because there is a past history? Is it because the qualities within that person are hitting your partner in the same way and they don't even see it? And when you hear your partner talk about them, you're like, damn it. That's like looking in a mirror. They don't like something that they are. So when I learned that lesson with my in-laws, I had to let go. I didn't marry them. Now, obviously, if you marry into a family, that it is major family. Lots of Italians like that. Spanish are like that. Not to stereotype, I'm just saying. there are some very what's the word I'm looking for? They believe in a tight-knit thing. Family is family. And we do because we're family. And it is because we're family. And this is because we're family. I get it. Did you know that when you married or when you became a partner, significant other? Did you know that you were going to have to be tied into that family? Well, if there's family businesses, they're very difficult. You're going to have to look at that, especially if that's how it is, because they already have stressors with business. They already have that stressor. Now you have an extra added stressor because you're going to be the next whipping post into the family. So now you already married a person who we become whipping post. Now we're married into a business family who now becomes another whipping post. And then it gets to be very, very, very unsided, unbalanced. That requires a very special partner to be able to smile. And that's what it becomes. It becomes that way where you have to smile and know what you got yourself into. That's difficult. It was really difficult. And sometimes children of those business don't have a choice. My children didn't have a choice at all. Both of us, of my children, both of us as father and mother, we both had our own businesses. So can you imagine how indebted the children got into those businesses? Huh. It's difficult. It is a very difficult situation to get through. Father, Mother, God, find me grace. Father, Mother, God, find me balance. Guess what? Turn to yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. Color ducky. Get in that meditation. Find me the balance. Find me the balance. It cannot be my way all the time. Now, obviously, let it be your way if it's going to cause any due harm. Don't go back and say, MJ, you said no. No. No, MJ said balance as best as you can. Because when we get angry, there's nobody to blame but yourself. And so if I'm the catalyst to say something that's honest and truthful and you don't want to hear it, I'm not sure why you're going to get angry at me if it's the truth. Or you married a narcissist who then wants to proclaim, and that is the person who wants to proclaim that you did X, Y, and Z. It's kind of like the same person of an in-law that they can't face themselves. It's the same way. And you'll notice that those characteristics will go beyond the partnership. They'll go to their coworkers. They'll go to their friends, their bosses, and they're the same narcissistic patterns. So before you say the I do's, make sure that sweet talking narcissist gaslighter is on the up and up. Both sides of the coin, whether you're female or male, it doesn't just work on one side. Period. Okay? We have to start paying attention to our words, our actions, our tones, our belief systems, what our communication skills require. Communication is key. It is just the bottom line. Communication is key. And you have to be able to speak, but you have to take this thing called the Boca and learn those words and tones and say things like, I can understand why you're so frustrated. Is it plausible that maybe we could meet halfway? Is it plausible that maybe we could do this for a couple hours and then do this? You know, people have events on the same day. In the beginning, we talked about this, right? Events trigger. Is it plausible to try to, you see a lot of people at the holidays with that trigger, right? Going to whose in-laws house first. When I grew up, the Christmas Eve was always my mother's family. Christmas Day was always the Lynn family. And that's just how it was. It was my dad's Parents' Day. And then, of course, they all got together because it was also my birthday that very soon after Christmas. And so we all got together anyway again. Now, today, people who are divorced, you have that pattern with the kids. Now you have to do one whole year. Or they'll say for the Christmas, well, I'll have them Christmas, you take them New Year's. Right? Well, you should have thought about that before you got divorced. You should have thought about that before you had kids. Well, you should have thought about shoulda. Right now, I'm shitting all over myself because why didn't I think of all these things? Because when we do, we don't find that mind stream. We are in an euphoricness of love, endorphin. And when you are full of love endorphin, there is no negative adversity. There is nothing negative that can be said when we have oxytocin or our love hormone in full effect, or even the love energy pattern. When we hit past our heart chakra, we get into the love sector, right? Here's our love pattern. And now what? Yeah. Now we've just completely lost that part again. Because now we've fallen out of that frequency. And now here comes the skeletons, or here comes the other patterns. Maybe if you're not having a partner yet, or you're struggling to find partners and keep them, maybe it's time to dove into you, not into others. Maybe it's time to dive into conditioned mechanisms or conditional patterns of energy that your family held, and you're finding that same source within the partner, causing you to have that aggravation that you're so comfortable with because you had to deal with it within your family growing up. You as an individual pick and choose the lessons in which you were conditioned as man to go with. You might not like something that one does and the other one didn't. Right? You might, maybe one parent was Jewish and the other parent was Catholic. Maybe one, maybe that was a struggle within the marriage. Maybe the in-laws were such opposites that they are not healed. And so it always causes a rift within the core. Maybe a belief pattern on children's education was homeschooled or public school or private. And then let's throw the third one, private school. Now it becomes discussions after discussions, food bases, maybe one's a vegan, one's a carnivore, right? That becomes another big issue. These are all issues within family units, partnerships. You have to be able to balance. How are you going to balance? Well, I don't like vegetables. Okay, well, they don't like meat. Well, then that's their problem. No, see, that's not how we're teaching today. We're not teaching that, right? We're teaching, maybe there's a way where we can maybe it's plausible that for us, if I don't prefer ham, let's just say I don't prefer pork, right? Whatever reason. I don't mean to pick on the pig because I like pork myself, but I know there's different cultures and there's different religions and there's different blood types and there's different things that pork's not your friend, right? And maybe the person who's the vegan, it's like, how about if I choose the meat? How about we go back to fish, right? So okay, as the carnivore. And if you say, I don't really like fish, well, either do they. Did you think of that? They're trying to find a medium and you're poo-pooing it. Stop it. Try it. Do you know, I have been with a lot of people who tell me they don't like something. And I make it, and they eat it, and they like it, and they turn around and tell me, what was that? Well, that's what I tell them what was in it. They're like, I hate that. And they'll never eat it again because their mind took over their taste buds or their nutritional value that the body wanted. Because they're so hardened with ego and judgment, they're not willing. Even though you could blindfold them and let them taste it and have no idea what's in it, It happens. Why? Because we associate something as a distaste if it didn't come to our liking the very first time, or we had an adverse reaction. Human condition pattern, right? Oh, I don't like it. Not that, okay, so we can drink bottled water and now everybody has a decision on what's the best water. No, it's not a decision of the best. It's already marked the best. Well, who's to say that I like the taste and I don't care if there's sodium in it? Well, I'm just saying what could be in bottled waters. Sodium contents could be higher than one another. If you taste it, maybe there is, maybe a higher form of nitrate in it. I don't know. Just saying. Okay. Everybody has a right of choice. Right, wrong, and different. Who, again, are you to judge that? Who? You're not to judge. Especially when you go there and call yourselves Christians. My gosh, how many? How many in there? And I'm going to get to that tonight. I'm going to talk about Pope tonight on Beyond the Headlines. So you might want to tune in at 7 o'clock. As a Catholic of 28 years, I left the Roman Catholic faith. So we're going to do that. But it goes back into partnerships again. Choices, judgments. Where are we? What are we doing? Right? It is human conditioned patterns of our egos and our judgments that have been installed in our brain like brainwashing mechanisms. And you are the only strong enough person to change that. Nobody else can change it. You have to change. Yep, it's easier to be downright nasty, ugly, no, F you. That's an easy, that's what we call the escape. That's what we call the coward's escape. You don't want to talk about it. Why? Too emotional? Well, it's not going to kill you. Once you want the emotion out all at once, you don't ever have to deal with this again because it's now becoming a pattern in the relationship. Get in a mediator who knows neither of you. Don't get a friend as a mediator because the human pattern is going to end up putting all that back in. So don't do it. Maybe a good thing to do is find a counselor. Please find a counselor that's both physical and metaphysical, though, please. If not, get two. Because you're missing a big point of metaphysical. Because metaphysical is not only spiritual minded, faith minded, right? They say mind, body, spirit. Well, spirit does come as metaphysical practices. All religious organized churches are metaphysical, whether you like it or not. They're there. All denominations are metaphysical. So anytime you say, please God, you are metaphysically praying. But yet you condemn the metaphysical. You see how that switched patterns right there again? You want to scold them, judgment, call them names. The biggest one they always know because they know nothing about high divine energetic frequency patterns, so they'll call you a witch. Got people here. I moved here. I was particularly looking for essential oils and some herbs and some stones so I could concoct a tincture for myself to keep away my diabetes, right? With Endoflex and stuff. That's what I was looking for. And I happened to go into this one little shop out of everybody here, Christian Belt. And the lady goes, "You're not from here." I go, "Actually," I said, "I was born and raised in Danville." I said, "But I told the story, I left in the military and now I came back, but just didn't quite feel Danville was my hometown anymore. Kind of got out of control and really didn't care to live within that out of controlness there." So we went up the road a bit. That's how I got back from, and she said she liked my energy, blah, blah, blah. And she announced herself as the town witch. Everybody in the town, I'm the witch. I was like, "Did they give you that?" She goes, "You could just ask anybody. They'll just say I'm the local witch." So she was stereotyped because of her belief and her connection and vibration to God. So they dubbed her a witch because ego and judgment. Now you have your partnerships. Let's go back. Do you have somebody in your family who believes in the highest form of energetic power and that you are poo-pooing? causing a rift in the family, causing a rift together? Do you have a family unit that isn't quite conformative to the history of your ancestors and decides to step out of line? That was happening in our LGBTQ communities. They were thwarted their feelings. Can't help who you love. I'm going to say it again. You can't help who you love. That soul in a past life that's found you in this lifetime. Maybe it was a female, maybe it was a heterosexual relationship back then. And maybe in this lifetime it's not, but the souls found each other. Why? Because that's what you do. You find love. But you're being taught by man that you have to do this. No, the only thing by man that has to do it's the only way to create. It takes two. Doesn't mean you can't find a surrogate. Doesn't mean you can't find a donor. Doesn't mean that if you really want a child that bad. But then if you follow the blood, the Bibles, and you follow the law of man, and you follow the law then of all the other beautiful religions out there besides Christianity, there's man again playing God's role of creating humans when there's so many things out there now to do it. If you can't have children, maybe there was a purpose. Maybe there was a reason. Yes, it is a big partnership issue. Huge. Understandably. But are you playing God by creating that? God made you your body. So now you are outgoing the creation of God. My beautiful followers. So where is the moral side of that? Where is that come into play? Again, partnership problems, partnership issues. Morally, they don't want to. If you don't, and your other partner wants kids, this is how God made me. And I'm not okay with it because now I'm going to change it. Some people go, hey, MJ, I don't see it that way. I see it that God made an ability for those who have a problem. You can see it any way you want. It's how to balance your partnership, right? I don't know. I know for me, if any part of my body is how God made it, it is what it is. Who am I? God didn't create the diseases within, right? Look at COVID, man-made. God didn't do that. Sometimes when our mad scientists or our mad hatters want to put concoctions together and then demand people because it's the best and they convince you subliminally that it's the best, there's another issue. Partners who disagreed with vaccinating. That was awful. 2020. So many divorces. So many challenges about vaccinating children, about getting vaccinated, about getting mandated to vaccine in your job and having the courage to say you may not make that demand. And then now get sick and now blame somebody else because you're sick. Well, they made me do it. No, nobody can make you do it. You had a choice. And that choice was to take that vaccine. That choice was to keep that job. That was your choice. So for all those who are now having issues and having the problems with the COVID vaccines because you were made to take it. Nope. I think the only people who were really made to take it was the military, and that's sad. Really sad. Yeah. You could say, well, they had a choice. No, they don't, because they signed up for so many years. They already signed up. If they walk away, they're AWOL. They don't just lose their job. Now they have a military record. So before somebody out there makes a statement that they had a choice, they do have a choice to go AWOL, but the consequences of that choice, then you pray that whatever vaccine that they are now making mandatory in the military has a very, very good compensation outcome. Might something happen, right? I did what you asked. But now you have to make your choice. And they made the choice to demand. Well, here it is. How many people are dying and sick? 4 years, 5 years, their bodies are starting with hemorrhaging, their lungs, their brain. This is all part of the COVID vaccine. And I implore you, if you have gotten that COVID vaccine and you're starting with this, find somebody with a Dr. Rife who can take that vaccine and de-inoculate you. It can happen. These are all partnership issues because every partner went through, I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. And now you're looking at the people who are just sick constantly with COVID. Why? Because the inoculation couldn't mutate. No inoculation mutates because they're not live. When you have a live mutation or you have a live virus, then it mutates. It's a different show. But just know the arguments, the partnership arguments are there. These are choices. Every decision that you make is a choice. Everything that you don't like is going to be your choice, how you handle it. You want to fight? Then you use ugly words, you use ugly tones, and you don't shut your mouth until you can figure it out. There is nothing wrong with saying, I understand this conversation needs, can you please allow me a time? And don't be stupid. I shouldn't say that, but cancel clearly I said it. Don't go out there and say, let me get back with you. I'm going to circle back with you. Or don't tell them why. I understand you have mentally got yourself ready to have this conversation. Thank you to know that you're ready to have the conversation. Let me get mentally prepared now. Because if I can get mentally prepared now to have this conversation, we both win. But if you want to mentally prepare yourself, and you had however many days you prepared yourself to even get the courage to say, hey, do you think we can have this conversation? Right? I think you should be allowed to allow your partner to come back and say, wow, thank you. I understand that you got yourself prepared for this. Thank you. May I take that same time frame to get myself prepared? Please make it within 3 days. Don't forget about it. Don't push it off for weeks and then keep making that same comment. I'm not prepared. Get prepared because the person is asking. Because if not, then there are consequences. They have a choice. If they don't like something, and they have the courage to talk to you about a dislike, they also have a choice to walk away from you totally. Keep pushing conversations out. Keep pushing the unknowns out. You won't have a relationship much longer. That's the sad part. Folks, I got to take another break. You're listening to mbradio.us. Veterans have a voice and is here for vocation rehabilitation purposes. My name is MJ, and I'm here to show you how you can take belief and flip patterns the same way I did and get myself out of a lot of trouble right here on the world of conscious positive thinking. Be right back. There's my bird.
The land is sacred. These words are at the core of your being. The land is our mother. The rivers are blood. Take our land away and we die. That is, the Indian in us dies. Mary Bravebird, Lakota.
Pray for our planet. Something's going wrong. Pray for our planet. Something's going wrong. Coal mines compromise the drip in the skin. The killing of the nature is a terrible sin. Pray for our planet. Something's going wrong. Plagues and disease, violence everywhere. They're killing all the nature and nobody cares. Anger and hate, all they want to do is fight. I pray to the Father only sacred.
the station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
I don't know if he's calling me a quack or not. That quack. Be right back, quack. Ha. Folks, that was the Blue Mountain Tribe with Pray for Our Planet, all about Mother Earth and preservation. So check them out, follow them as well. Great inspiration for very grounded individuals, those tribes out there. So that was good. So back to partnerships. So for I mean, there's so many events that I'm trying to give examples of the events that maybe we could flip. So the words understand in partnerships and the words, is it plausible, right? Actually are softer and more understanding to the human mind because it's more of a conditioned word pattern base, right? So being taught your vocabulary words and spelling bees and your elementary English teaching of vocabulary words, and then you read and looking up vocabulary words. When we pick and choose positive words, our life with our partners become more balanced. It really is the bottom line. If we don't like something, stop screaming to that person. If it's the first time you said it and they're like, MJ, I've said it I don't know how many times and they still do it. So then ask them to schedule it. Compromise. They like it. So compromise. Get yourself out of there. I don't want you to thwart the needs, the desires, or the wants of your partner. They also have their own path and their own free will. With partnerships, you have to have a balance to allow them to do their thing and you do yours, and then you always come back, right? So it looks like this. It looks like, right? It looks like the wave. You go out, you come back. You go out, you come back, right? You always come back. But you're doing your will, your free will. You're doing the things that you need to do. You're doing that which has the motions for your soul to move forward in its life lessons. Maybe the reason of the season is because you had so many life lessons that you knew this particular energy from the past. You knew this energy, right? And this is why you got together as a partner, because they're going to teach you this humongous side of love, these learning life lessons. Maybe your side of love was cold and you didn't even see it. Maybe your side of love, remember, love doesn't hurt. Humans hurt love, but love doesn't hurt. But maybe it's your side that has to open. Maybe it's your side, those 12 leaves around the heart chakra have to understand. And know that you can't just jump into the heart chakra if you have not balanced your other 3 chakras, your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. These are those lessons that you're learning to bring it into heart, to bring it into love, to bring it into balance of the spirit of mind to God. Because God is only love. Care what religion. God is love. And love means we must balance, because love is not jealous or boastful. Who knows that, Corinthians? Very common, especially in a marriage, right? It's those words in the Corinthians. Yeah. Huh. Give yourself a big pat in the back if you, in the last 5 months, have been able to balance with your partner without arguments. Give yourself a big pat in the back. Arguments for some who are healed could be very large discussions, very momentous discussions, right? It is those discussions that create an understanding. I'm not going to tell you to don't. Try. No. Free will, yourself. To create actions of love as well as your words. Actions. Be civil, right? If your husband's hands are full, open up that car door. If your wife's hands are full, you open up that car door. Both sides. But don't forget about your partner. Taking off in the woods. Did you look around if you have a partner? Where's your partner buddy? Where's your battle buddy? Too far away? Because you are on a mainstream hunting. I hear spring gobbler. Makes you think. They're on a mission, right? Lots of men are on the mission for spring gobbler, but also there are women. Did you lose track of the women? Does the woman understand that is pretty much his domain? For women who like to hunt, it's their domain. I understand that. Then keep up or go your own way. Don't yell at the partner because he takes off. He's doing his thing. Understand what hunting means. Understand that. It's not a paid hunt. Partnership, fishing, camping, do your share. Here's the other one, parties. How many times have you thrown a party at the house and you're running around with your head cut off, but your partner's sitting around doing very minimal things and then likes to enjoy when the people get there and forget that there's tasks to do, right? That could cause an issue. Are you seeing that there are certain tasks so that they can enjoy as well? Or are you just leaving one to have to do all the tasks? And then ask yourself, are you a party planner, an event planner who just love to do that? Then, okay, I'll leave you alone. See, it's kind of hard for me to generally just point things out because for everything that I point out could be a possibility or a probability, right? Because it's who you are and who they are, how you have to balance. But again, I implore you, don't say it's my way or no way. Please, I implore you, find a happy medium. It's a give and take. Know that not every battle needs to be won by you with this relationship. In all, I don't care if you're a male or a female. The logic still flows and the logic is still there. Ask yourself these questions because unless you want the whole problematic of, if you're married, having a divorce and having that kind of money get sheltered out the door and then having to pay on top of that every single month, and you're already struggling because of how economy and inflation. Think about these patterns. The people who come and say, I'm just miserable in my relationship. Why? What is your part? Oh, that pisses them off. Oh, for God, bid, you're going to blame me. I had to learn it. You can do it too. You can. I told you. My third marriage. First one didn't last very long. Second one, I had my kids. This one, I truly did marry for life lessons. And I truly, truly married for heart. Yeah. We come from two sides of two different strokes. Very, very Cuban Spanish influenced, which most women say, I hate that Cuban authoritative figure kind of thing. So why did you not control it? And why are you being stereotyped? And why is it? So I could go on and on and on. Find your partner, know them. I didn't marry this time very quick. We waited. We waited a long time. We waited 10 years. That's a long time in a relationship. But we did. We figured it would be good at that point, right? Knew each other for a long time. But maybe that's what it is. What's the old cliche? Friends grow fonder, right? Huh? Maybe it's the truth. Maybe you have to find that friend, that best friend that you can talk to, that you can use as a whipping post. That they know that you're just angry and you need to get that energy out. Maybe that's the person. Now, if you are that person, but you're having a bad day, then stop them right then and there because it'll turn into another argument if you do not. It works both ways, right? I have to have a mental readiness and I have to be in a good state because anybody who is talking negative actions that are angry is going to take your levels of frequency and your vibration, it's going to pull it down because it's the energy that they're in and you're in now in that energy. So yes, the way their energy is affects your energy. So balancing your partners means all the way around. Because then what's going to happen? They exhaust you. They deplete you of your energy. You are now like, I'm tired. I'm just not there. Then you become depressed and sad because their energy overtook your energy. And people feel it, whether you want to believe in frequency value or not of your body, you feel it. You feel that resentment. You feel the anger. You feel what they are stating. And now you succumb to it. Now, you can flip it and say, then there's something I have to learn if I succumb to it. But is there? Because if the conversation stops and the directions turn, your frequency evaluation will go higher. You can see it in your auric fields. You can see it in your electromagnetic fields, right? Because the conversation thwarted. If after the conversation you still feel down in the dumps, then I highly suggest you look at you with what they were saying and you tip those scales and you tip those belief patterns and you figure out what your part is. Again, where's your part? Is it an old belief system that you were conditioned to believe by man in your learnings and your teachings as a youth? Or is it something that they believe in? And now there's your two worlds, right? There's two worlds. Well, this is what I believe in. We had a discussion, my husband, he drives closer to the middle of the road because his father taught him when he was driving to put the front on the line, on the inside. And I smile because where's his dad from? Cuba. Have you ever been to the islands? They don't drive on the side because if not, they're in the gutter. My husband's from Trinidad. Every time I went to Trinidad, I'm like, oh my God. The closer they got was straight down like 4 or 5 feet for drainage on those little islands. Conditioned mechanism patterns. And that's my belief. That's why I honor how his dad taught him to drive, because that's not how my dad taught me to drive. My dad taught me to drive with the middle of my car in the driver's seat, make sure it's on the line. So if you're looking like a gun, you make sure the middle of the car, when you're looking at it, the illusion is that you're on the side of the road. That way you're on the right side of the road. Now, when I go to the islands, I don't drive like that. In fact, I'm knuckle bearing, I'm trying to get away from the gutter. But if I drove like that my whole life, where's that fear coming from, MJ? Huh? See what I'm saying? I can't be angry, but I used to get really angry with the way he drove. But then I realized where he was taught from, how he was taught, why he was taught those ways. Now I just close my eyes when he drives. See how I flipped it? It wasn't worth it. You can do it. Little things like that always play key, right? So we fought about it all the time. I'm like, God, why are you driving in the middle of the road? And that was my arrogance. That was my ego. That was me. Why? Telling him how to drive. Oh my God. Well, I mean, he's been driving for over 40 years, same like me. So seriously? I'm going to tell him how to drive when he can back up a boat in a second and not have sex in and out, backing up with a boat. I can't even back up something. So who am I to judge him? There's no way. So I had to find the root of cause. Why? Because our human brains are made to find the whys. I'm a why girl. You can ask anybody. Why? And they're like, oh my God, MJ, because. I'm like, no, that's a cop-out answer. Tell me you don't know. Maybe I should go research it. Well, you're damn straight I'm going to ask everybody. And if they keep saying no, then, it might plague me for time. But I am a why girl. Because knowing the whys can solve any reasonable doubt of balance or consciousness. Positive. I have to know. I have to. But I have to know my business. When I start incorporating somebody else's, that's the other thing. Okay, partners, we talk about our friends' partnerships or our friends, right? We talk about them. Care who you are. You talk about them. How are they doing? Have you heard from them? How is so-and-so? Like we talk about them. I'm not saying you talk about them negatively, but we do talk about our friends that we go out with or our neighbors. We talk about them. Are we in the highest consciousness of positivity with those friends or those neighbors so that when we get in, we can balance? Because surely if it's a husband's friend that he brought to the marriage or a woman's friend or your wife and whatever on your side, you're going to be like, what's your problem? I've been friends forever. What is your problem with them? Think about it. Well, if they don't get along with that ISO association of, yeah, it's just who they are, let it be, and you don't know them, somebody who is very sarcastic could have a very big issue on a partner, right? You already know they're sarcastic and you already know they're harmless and you already know they just talk out their ass. But for somebody else, it's causing a huge debut because they can't accept that answer. Does that make sense? It's the same thing with in-laws, the same way, right? So now remember, now we're fighting within multiple. So if your parents, so now you have 4 people, ideologies coming into you. Your mom has her mom and dad 4 different ideologies of learning and accepting and trying to go through life and how they respond and how they work with their people and their partner. And now your partner has the same thing on their side. Woo, that gets to be a lot of people. Now you have a lot of opinions and now you have a lot of people telling you how you're supposed to go through life. And some of them are completely opposite. And now you're made to choose. Which one makes you happy? Which one is on the highest positive of consciousness? And if you say what makes me happy is to go tell me to F off, that is not a choice. That is not the show. It's not a choice. Right? You can say, step back. There's people in my family. Next time I see you, we're going to have a discussion. I don't believe in how you're treating some people, members of my family. I'm not Judge, jury, or hierophant. I'm about the highest morals of consciousness. Flip the pattern. If you have nothing nice to say, then don't say it at all. Because it just makes yourself look like the idiot. Not really us. But maybe somebody didn't tell you, or maybe you were born without one of your parents. The softer side. And maybe you're not conditioned to see it. It's the whys that help you balance. Where is this stemming from? Where is this anger? Where is this resentment that you have to publicly announce that you hate all people who do X, Y, and Z, and you're stereotyping them with your ugly ass hatred? It's the same way in partnerships. You're spewing anger, hatred, because your energy is disassociation. So now you have this big thing, and now you have all of your family with now all of their spouses from all different types of cultures and all different types of beliefs and all different systems. Whew. Please know you're only there for a very short time. You don't live with them. Put a smile on your face and enjoy your day. It's the only thing I have to say about that. And don't, especially if it's your partner's families, one or the other, you say nothing. They don't want to hear it anymore. You sound like a broken record. How many times? I have clients all the time. I tell them and I tell them, well, it's because they're a family unit. You can tell me till you're blue in the face, but it's a family unit. You should have thought about that when we got married. Shoulda, right? You can't. People change. Energy changes people. Understand that change also causes emotional debuts. The emotional debuts are caused by balance. Where's your part? Why can't you balance on this part? Everything's a balance. If you did things in this lifetime and you're going to go and cross, and there's Archangel Gabriel with the final judgment judging you, are you going to try to be narcissistic and blame everybody else? Think about it. Are you going to get stuck? You're not going to go through the gates? Because there's God who is all forgiving. He is. He forgives you. But you're still going to have your choice now. Now you're going to have to figure it out. Now you're going to have to do it again. That's headache. I don't want to do that. So now there's some people who live their life. Everything's going to be positive about, so I'm not going to have an argument, and I'm not doing it. That is exhausting to some because they morally cannot accept it. Taking the high road, as we talked about in the other show, it's extremely hard. Taking that higher road, right? Especially with the judgments out there. I couldn't even imagine in the last 15 years, maybe more than that, the last 20 years, since 2008, so almost 20 years last. If you had bipartisan in your family, somebody is a Dominican, the other, the trauma. Oh, the illusions. Oh, that would be another show. But there's that again. See, every relationships have it. Sex is a big issue as well. In relationships, it is sought after. Women don't understand the man's physiology. Men don't understand women's physiology. When are their peak higher seasons, right? For our age brackets, for having copulations, right? Are enjoying intimacy. So there's so many things with partnerships, but talking, communicating, researching, understand it. If you don't understand it because you didn't learn it in health class, look it up. It might be the best thing you ever did for your wife or husband. Who knows, right? But we all go through it. And we all can live through it because we all have choices. Anytime you have a question, on the bottom of the screen, the World of Conscious Positive Thinking at MBRadio, MBRadio.us. The emails will go right to us. You can put administration at MBRadio.us as well, and all of those will go through. And I will answer and try to give you a flip pattern of plausibilities. But if you allow your voice and your mind to go silent and ask for the highest positive path to take, I think it'll come to you. Yeah. All right, folks. Partnerships. It's both sides of the coins. It's a love-hate. But it's only hate when you can't balance. That's right. Think about that. Balance, balance, balance. Watch what you say. Pretend that you understand, even if you don't. Use the word I understand, even if you don't. And if you keep using the word and you really don't understand and you're really far off, say, please explain. Telling somebody you understand allows them to say their voice was heard. And it's not muttered. We all have honey-do lists. Help your partner. That's why you married them. Because you're going to need that same help, whether it's to make your appointment, find your stuff, help you outside, paint whatever, right? Doing clothes, cooking. You're going to find that you're going to want that partner on that other side because they balance you. Find their attributes on both sides, and it will make it work wholeheartedly. When we make the change of life and we make the change of energy to go to higher venues, you will bring your partner with you, I promise, to that higher consciousness. Might be a struggle because they can't understand it because they didn't do the work. But sooner or later, they're going to see how the positive always comes one way. That's right. I'm MJ, the World of Conscious Positive Thinking, right here on the beautiful MB Radio. I'm here every Monday And we start our show at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's usually a 2-hour show. I have some great guests coming up. I have my mentor, my Hierophant, Miss Kim. We're going to talk about the chakras because we're going to be starting having our moons, and she's going to start teaching the chakras here. We also have another person who is going to be a very special guest up here on the mountain. Her name is Becca. Her real name is Rebecca. I like calling Becca, but Rebecca Gutierrez, and she is an eclectic massage therapist who incorporates not only just basic massage, but reflexology, lymphatic, somatic, anything that would work. And she's a psychology major, so she really can figure out about the energies in those joints. So they'll be really good something because it's another tool for your quiver, another arrow for your quiver, another tool for your tool belt. To use in trying to heal the physiology of the body that can actually get trapped within. So very interesting discussions coming up. So you stay tuned, and we'll be back here next week, Monday. And we're going to sign out. Have a great week, folks, and see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.